However, at that time, we were going through the Cold War era, and there was certainly a Soviet versus U.S. mentality, and you've got to imagine it's even deeper, it's even thicker in Middle America.
Here came this mighty team that had come in, and we were 5 years after the incredible Olympic final in '72, where the USSR had about 3 chances to win the game and finally did. And so you still had a lot of bitter feelings among American basketball fans. And here they came in. They had not even been touched by a college team. And here they came into Manhattan to play Jack Hartman's team, which was good, but was having kind of an up and down type season.
The Russians were considered to be maybe the best in the world as far as basketball is concerned. And the security and everything else with that game was just astronomical.
He had a great little point guard, Stanley Yeoman. And I remember being over at the motel getting something to eat before the game, and they were in there. Yeoman ordered for all of them. He spoke very good English, but they had a kid named Mishkin on that team who was a 6'6" forward. He could have played in the NBA. It was a great basketball team, and they were guys who were in their 30s. They were mature. And again, Jack Hartman told me that day, I don't know why we even took this game, because they had a game the next night, as I recall, against Oklahoma State.
It was over break for Kansas State, Christmas break, and so we didn't even have the student population in town then. So the field house was full, but it wasn't sold out.
It was during the course of the conference schedule, and I think it was a ticket separate from what the season ticket was, obviously.
This Russian team was absolutely huge. They were all like 6'10", 6'11". They had a 7'3" or 7'4" guy, Tichenko, and they were great outside shooters. Even 6'10" guys shooting it from the wing, clear out on the wing.
It was just a game that started off with the Russians kind of looking like maybe they were going to dominate it. And as the game went on, it began to make up, and it turned into a pretty intense ball game. And then you began to sense, hey, K-State's got a shot. 8,000 people, Ahern was not full, and it sounded like there were 80,000 people in there as that game went on.
I think at that point when it got the loudest, I think Mike Evans had stole the ball. We're going down on a break, and he ends up passing the ball behind his back. And that just put everybody over the top. It was towards the end of the game. It was a huge play. That actually was probably one of my most memorable moments for K-State basketball as well.
Redding and Evans were 2 of the players involved, and I never heard the place as loud as it was when that happened.
You talk to the people that were there, and I've been in some rowdy venues in Ahern Fieldhouse. Just amazing games where it's deafening loud. You talk to the veteran fans that have been through all of those games, and they'll say the 7, 8, 9,000 people who were actually there were louder than any other game they ever experienced in Ahern Fieldhouse.
That was one of the loudest I've ever heard Ahern Fieldhouse was during that game. I mean, folks were so excited that we're playing an international team, one of the top international teams, and that we were actually beating them.
My roommate, when I got back from that game, was just talking about it and different things that happened and asked me about it, and then he was reliving Dev Nelson's call in a Swedish accent, trying to get the Russian names right. And so it was even a fun deal for those who listened on the radio, I'm sure.
That was an Olympic basketball team from Russia, guys that were 28, 30 years old, playing guys like Curtis Redding, who was 18 or 19 years old. I mean, it was truly men against boys, and the boys won that night.
That was an unbelievable thing, not for Kansas State, just for basketball, for the state. But yeah, I think it was something that was monumental, not only in our school's history and basketball history, but even beyond that in the bigger scheme of things.